I was a rich man. I had everything. I had a big house, fast cars, and a lot of money. People looked at me with respect. They wanted to be like me. I felt powerful and important. I thought nothing could stop me. My life was full of luxury. I bought the best clothes, the best food, and the best cars. I never thought about tomorrow. I only cared about today. Every morning, I woke up in my huge bedroom. The bed was soft, and the air smelled fresh. My workers made my coffee. They brought me breakfast on a silver tray. I never cooked. I never cleaned. I never worked hard. Life was easy for me. I looked in the mirror and smiled. I saw a successful man. I thought I would always be on top. I had many friends, or at least, I thought they were my friends. They laughed at my jokes. They came to my parties. They enjoyed my money. I paid for everything. I liked the attention. I believed they cared about me. I never asked myself if they would stay if I had no money. I did not think about it. I was sure they would always be there. One day, I stood on my balcony. The city looked so small from my big house. The streets were full of people. They worked hard. They walked fast. They looked tired. But I was not like them. I was different. I had no worries. I had no fears. I felt like a king. I thought my money would never leave me. But I was wrong. I spent more and more money. I bought more cars. I traveled to expensive places. I gave big gifts to my friends. I wanted more fun. I wanted more excitement. I never stopped to think. I never saved my money. I was sure it would never end. I was blind. I could not see the danger ahead. Then, one day my business had problems. I lost some money. At first, I did not worry. I thought I could fix it. I thought it was small. But the problem grew. It became bigger and bigger. I did not want to believe it. I kept spending. I kept living the same way. I did not want to change. I thought everything would be fine. But it was not fine. My business lost more money. I had to sell one of my cars. Then another. Then my big house. My friends stopped calling me. They did not come to my parties. I was not rich anymore. They did not need me. I sat alone in a small apartment. I looked at my empty phone. No one called. No one cared. I finally understood. My money was gone. And so were my friends. My power was gone. My big life was over. I was alone. I had nothing. I had no one. I thought I was the king of the world. But now I was just a man with nothing. I did not know what to do next. I did not know where to go. My story was just beginning. I sat in my small apartment. The room was dark and quiet. There was no big bed, no silver tray, no soft pillows. Just a simple chair, a small table, and a hard mattress on the floor. I looked around. This was my new home. It felt empty. It felt cold. I had lost everything. My old life was gone. I could not believe it. How did this happen? How did I fall so fast? I picked up my phone. No messages. No calls. My friends were gone. They used to call me every day. They used to ask for parties, for dinners, for trips. Now they were silent. I scrolled through my contacts. So many names. But I knew the truth. They did not care about me. They cared about my money. And now that my money was gone, they had disappeared. I was alone. I walked to the window. Outside, people moved fast. They had jobs, families, places to go. I used to be like them. No, I used to be above them. I looked down at the street. I was no longer special. I was just another man. No one looked up at my window. No one cared that I was there. I felt small. I felt invisible. I thought about my past. I remembered the big parties, the expensive clothes, the loud music. I remembered the nights full of laughter and excitement. But now, those memories hurt. They felt far away. Like a dream that was over. I wanted to go back. I wanted my old life. But it was too late. I had made my choices. And now, I was paying the price. My stomach growled. I opened my fridge. It was almost empty. A bottle of water, a few slices of bread, and some old cheese. That was all. I used to eat in the best restaurants. I used to order the most expensive dishes. Now, I had to save every penny. I sat down and ate slowly. The bread was dry. The cheese was hard. But I had no choice. This was my life now. I needed a job. I needed money. But I had never worked like normal people. I had always been the boss. I had always given orders. Now, I had to start at the bottom. I had no skills. I had no experience. Who would hire me? Who would give me a chance? The thought scared me. But I had no other option. If I wanted to survive, I had to change. The next morning, I left my apartment. I walked through the streets, looking for work. I entered stores, restaurants, and offices. Everywhere the answer was the same. No experience. No job. People looked at me with doubt. They did not see a strong man. They did not see a leader. They saw a lost man. A man who had nothing. I had never felt so weak. That night, I lay on my mattress, staring at the ceiling. My body was tired. My heart was heavy. I had no job. I had no money. I had no friends. But for the first time, I understood something. I was not special. I was not untouchable. I was just a man like everyone else. And if I wanted a future, I had to build it with my own hands. The days passed slowly. My money was almost gone. My fridge was empty. My pockets had nothing but dust. I needed a job. I needed to survive. But no one wanted to hire me. I had no skills. No experience. Nothing to offer. The man who once had everything now had nothing. I walked through the streets, hoping for a chance. But every door remained closed. Every answer was the same. No. I sat on a park bench, watching people go by. They had jobs, families, responsibilities. They looked busy, important. I used to feel that way too. But now I felt lost. I had spent years chasing luxury. Now I was chasing something simple, stability. I had never worried about food, rent, or bills. But now these were my biggest worries. Life had changed, and I was struggling to accept it. One evening, I saw a small restaurant with a sign, "Help Wanted." My heart beat fast. Maybe this was my chance. I took a deep breath and walked inside. The air smelled of fried food. The floor was sticky. The workers moved quickly, shouting orders. It was loud, busy, nothing like my old world. I hesitated. Could I really work here? Could I do this? But I had no choice. I needed money. I walked to the counter and asked for the manager. A man in a white apron came forward. He looked at me from head to toe. "You ever worked in a restaurant?" he asked. I shook my head. "No, but I can learn," I said. He sighed. He did not look impressed. "We need fast workers, hard workers. You willing to clean tables? Wash dishes?" I hesitated for a second. Then I nodded. Yes. The manager handed me an apron. "You start tomorrow," he said. My heart jumped. I had a job. It was not glamorous. It was not powerful. But it was something. I walked home that night with a strange feeling. I had worked so hard to be rich, to be above everyone. Now I was starting from the bottom. It hurt my pride, but I knew this was my only way forward. The next day, I arrived early. The kitchen was hot. The work was hard. I washed dishes, wiped tables, carried heavy trays. My back hurt. My hands were sore. My old life felt a million miles away. No more silk suits. No more gold watches. Just sweat, soap, and tired feet. It was not easy. But for the first time, I felt something real. I felt like I was earning my place. After my shift, I sat outside the restaurant. My shirt was wet with sweat. My legs ached. But I had money in my pocket. It was not much, just a few bills. But it was mine. I had earned it. No one had given it to me. No one had handed it on a silver tray. I stared at the money for a long time. It was the smallest amount I had ever held. But somehow it meant the most. That night, I lay on my mattress, thinking about my day. My hands were rough. My body was tired. But my heart felt different. Stronger. I had spent my whole life believing money made me powerful. But real strength came from something else. It came from struggle, from effort, from rebuilding. I had lost everything. But maybe, just maybe, I was starting to find myself. The weeks passed, and I kept working. My hands became rough. My back ached. But I did not stop. I arrived early, left late, and did my best. The work was hard, but I was learning. I learned to move fast, to stay on my feet, to handle pressure. Every night, I went home exhausted. But unlike before, I was not empty inside. I was building something new. I was changing. I started to notice things I never saw before. The workers at the restaurant, they were not rich. But they were happy. They laughed. They helped each other. They worked like a team. They did not care about fancy clothes or expensive cars. They cared about doing their job well. They cared about each other. It was strange. In my old life, I had everything, but I was never truly happy. One evening, after work, I sat outside with an older worker named Mark. He had been at the restaurant for years. He wiped his hands and looked at me. "You work hard," he said. "That's good. But hard work is not enough. You need patience too." I nodded, but I was not sure what he meant. I was still thinking about my old life, about getting rich again. I still believed money was the answer. But something was different now. I was not spending my nights alone anymore. At the restaurant, I had people to talk to. People who did not care about my past. They did not ask about my money, my house, or my cars. They just knew me as a worker, like them. And for the first time, I did not feel like an outsider. I felt like I belonged. I saved my money carefully. Every dollar mattered now. I no longer wasted it on expensive things. Instead, I paid my rent, bought food, and kept a little aside. It was slow, but it was progress. I thought about my old friends, the ones who disappeared. None of them ever worked hard for their money. None of them knew what it felt like to struggle. Maybe that was why they never stayed. One night, I looked in the mirror. I saw a different man. My face was thinner, my eyes more serious. The arrogant smile I once had was gone. I did not see a rich man anymore. I saw a worker, a man trying to rebuild his life. It was strange. I had lost so much, but I did not feel as lost as before. For the first time, I felt a little proud. At work, I watched the manager closely. I noticed how he handled problems, how he kept things running smoothly. I listened, I learned, and I started to understand. I was not just washing dishes anymore. I was learning how to manage a business. A small business, yes, but a real one. And for the first time, I had a new thought. Maybe, just maybe, I could build something of my own one day. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. My dreams were different now. I did not dream of gold watches or big parties. I dreamed of a small place, a simple life, a life I built with my own hands. I was still far from that, but I was on a new path, a better path. And for the first time in a long time, I felt hope. Months passed, and I kept working. The job that once felt impossible became normal. My hands moved faster, my body felt stronger, and my mind was sharper. I was no longer just washing dishes. I helped in the kitchen, took orders, and even trained new workers. The manager noticed. One day, he pulled me aside. "You've learned a lot," he said. "If you keep this up, you could move up." His words stayed with me. For the first time, I saw a future here. Maybe I was not just surviving anymore. Maybe I was growing. I no longer thought about my old life every day. The past felt like a different world, a world that did not belong to me anymore. My mind was focused on the present, on the small victories. The first time I handled a busy night without mistakes. The first time a customer thanked me for good service. The first time I got a small raise. These moments felt better than any expensive party. They were real. They were mine. One evening, after work, I walked home in the cool night air. The city looked different to me now. I used to see it from the top, from my high balcony. Now I saw it from the streets, from the ground. But for some reason, it felt bigger, more alive. I had spent so much time chasing money, thinking it would make me happy. But happiness was not in things. It was in purpose, in effort, in people. And now I finally understood. That night, I sat at my small table with a notebook. I started writing ideas, small business ideas, simple ones, realistic ones. I was still far from my goal, but I had something I never had before, a real plan. My journey was not over yet. In many ways, it was just beginning. And for the first time, I was not afraid of the future. I was ready for it. The days turned into weeks, and I kept moving forward. My savings grew, little by little. I watched, I learned, and I planned. I did not rush this time. I knew better now. Success was not about speed. It was about patience, effort, and smart choices. I worked hard, but I also worked smart. And slowly, I saw a new path forming in front of me, a path I was building with my own hands. One day, I spoke to the manager. I told him my idea, a small food stand, something simple but good. He listened, then smiled. "You've come a long way," he said. "You have the right mindset now." His words meant a lot. Months ago, I was just a man lost in failure. Now, I was a man with a goal. I was not chasing wealth anymore. I was chasing something better, stability, purpose, a life I could be proud of. With time, I saved enough to start. It was not much, just a small cart on a busy street. But it was mine. I worked every day, cooking, serving, learning. It was not easy, but I loved it. I was no longer a man who spent money without thought. I was a man who understood its value. Every dollar I earned felt real, because I had worked for it. One evening, I looked at the city around me, the same city where I had once felt powerful, then lost, and now reborn. I had fallen, but I had risen again. Not as the rich man I once was, but as a stronger man, a man who knew what truly mattered. I had lost everything, but in the end, I had found myself. And that was worth more than any fortune. I hope this session was helpful. Please like and subscribe to our channel for more such interesting stories. Take care, everyone.